Hi, and welcome to the second part of our function tutorials in Kotlin. So we stopped when we created one type of function, which is the functions down here that really executed some lines of code, of operations, and return a certain type of data. In this case, it's an int. In this case, it's a double. Remember, you can return any kind of data. In this case, I just need an int and a double, but well, you can get to return text or whatever you want. Okay. So the following step is to create a bit more complex function in which we send variables and we receive a variable back. Okay, it's a complete input-output function, and we'll do it to each of the arithmetic operators. I know it looks a bit well, it's not so, I mean, it's because it's only a line of operation, it's really not so relevant, but still we will create a function so you can see how it looks when we create a function with entry variables as well. Okay, so I will create the following functions. Function add, where it will have a number 1 of type double and a number 2 of type double. That's the entry variables. Okay, double and double. That's what I'm doing with a comma, is adding the amount of variables of entry variables as much as possible. The ones I want 2, so I can add as much I want. Okay, you can add as many variables that you want. It's true that it's better not to overcome 6, I think 5 or 6, depends on the programming language. I wanted to return the operation value, and in this case, because I'm adding 2 decimal numbers, it will be important to receive back a decimal number. So I will also define this as a double, that it will return a double to the person who executes the function. Finally, we have to open and close the block. Remember, we open and close the block of the place where we're gonna put our code in. Okay, so really, what is an add? Really, it's just taking this here, cutting it, and putting it here. Okay, now because we don't want it to mix this number 1 with this number 1 here, it will be smart to define a different name. So instead of calling it number 1 and number 2, let's call it x and y. Okay, it's really, you can call it however you want. So what we will do is do this. So this function will add the x and y and print the sum and return sum. Now, obviously, if I return it, I may need to use, I can use it also here. So there are many ways of doing it. I can put the print outside, yes, like this, cut it out from here, put it back up here. Okay, and instead of putting this data here, I can put number 1, number 2, yes, we can put a val, which it's the add result, equals to add the add function, which is it offers me that function, and it's num1 comma num2. The add result, or the sum, we can call it however you want, the sum from here, you can call it like this. So it's practically the same thing as before. The only difference is that I put it here and I send 2 variables to be add up, and I receive a result back as a double. So the same thing, we can do it with subtract or multiply. Let's do it with multiply. And like this, right? So now we're going to use this function up here in the multiplication section, which is here, I'm gonna do this and num1, num2. Now remember, the names that you use inside the function are reserved only for the function. And not only that, because that means that only x, y are only valid inside this block here. And you either can call them differently from the ones you are sending from here, or you can call them the same. It really doesn't matter because the variables here are completely separated from the ones in here. Okay. So if we execute, what we will see is that will ask me a number 30 and another number 10, and if I multiply, it should give me 300, right? And it works great. I can put another 80 and put like 90, and if I add, it's 170. Okay, so it's working great. And if I put 5, it exits the sorry. Okay, so if I choose 5, it will exit the app. Okay, so now finally we've seen these two types of functions. We either have a function that has no, well, there is a third alternative, and it is a function that doesn't have anything to return. In those cases, if we write function divide, let's put the divide, yes, and let's make that the function divide won't give anything back. It will only print in screen. If you do like this, then the function doesn't really require anything to give back. We just didn't add this part in the end. So now the division, yeah, which is the last one here, will also be in charge of printing the result. And if I take this and I execute it in the fourth option, I should send num1 and num2. And if I execute it, applying the play, we will see that it's asking for number 10, well, 120, then number 3, and if I divide, it should show me 40. As you can see, it's showing it. The only difference is that this time I'm not returning anything. I'm already immediately printing on screen the result. It's not a very good idea to do that, because if you start making the functions too dependable of your scenario, of your situation, later on you may not be able to reuse it. So yes, you have to be careful about it. And that's it. That's how we work with functions. The idea is that you create as much functions as you see fit to help your code, at the same time improve how to understand your code.